Just to say that we know that a lot of media have had to go, and we're in contact with all of them in any case, so they will certainly have the information once the press release is issued later on. I just wanted to talk about a couple of moments really this week, and then Karina's going to give you some information about the show stats, and it really related to a couple of things. First of all, the policy forum, and a very successful policy forum, with the intention of which, for those who aren't aware, is to really try and create and understand the future of the events business, bringing leadership together to work out how the future is shaping. That was an important aspect of it. The part I want to also touch on was the part about people coming into it, young people coming into the industry. And what cropped up at the policy forum was there was a definite concern, because there kind of lots of elders, they weren't my age, but they were still elders, at the press conference. People have been in the industry a long time, and they were worried about who was going to succeed them, who was going to come through. So it was very interesting discussion, and saying where they were concerned because of the digital age we're living in, people working from home several days a week, digital nomads, all that sort of thing was being discussed, and they were concerned. And at the same time, Professor Greg Clark, who really was a key person within this forum, was saying earlier, well, I think there's going to be more need for meetings going forward prior to this discussion. So that was one aspect, but that led into what I attended the next day, which is the Future Leaders Forum. Future Leaders Forum attended by, I think, 80-odd people, something like that. Many from Germany, but also there was a contingent of 20 from the United States and others. They were completely engaged in the industry. And I was able to say to them something which I think is going to happen. And that is, not only are there going to be jobs for them going forward, and they're going to want to meet and to meet each other, not just meetings, but also the kind of jobs that they're going to get in leadership going forward are going to be of a higher status probably earlier than ever before. So I thought it was very interesting how it linked together what I was hearing at the policy forum one day and what I saw with my own eyes at the Future Leaders the next day. So I think it's very interesting overall to see this. And what it really means is it needs encouragement for people who are in the industry, because these young people are out there. And by the way, you've only got to look on the show floor. I'm in the policy forum hearing this. I'm thinking, hold on, when you look at the show floor and you look at how many young people there are, and then there's younger than that even coming through on these different courses. So I just wanted to share that with you this afternoon. I'm going to pass you over to Karina.
Hello everybody. So I'm going to just start with a few stats. So as many of you know, this was our largest IMEX Frankfurt in terms of exhibitor floor space to date. We're also very much up to pre-pandemic numbers in a general sense. Well over 13,000 attendees from all around the world here today. And well over 4,000 buyers. Actually, the buyers are almost at 4,500. Obviously, the majority of those are hosted buyers, but almost 1,000 attendee buyers have come through the doors. So hosted buyers, we're looking at around a 7% increase in the number of hosted buyers this week. From last year's show, but we've seen a 10% increase in the one-to-one meetings that they've been making, and so that really shows, I think, the strength of the business that the buyers have, and also their overall interest and engagement with our exhibitors and with the show as well. So in terms of overall meetings, it's over 67,000 pre-scheduled meetings that have taken place. That's a mixture, of course, majority of one-to-one meetings, but also group appointments, stand presentations that they book into. And really, I guess, you know, the overall sentiment that we can see from that basic data, but also from what we're just hearing on the show floor, from buyers, from exhibitors, is just how much momentum there is in the industry, positivity as well, and also a real strong intention to do business. So not only are these meetings taking place, but they're taking place with strong business and pipelines for the exhibitors. One of the other metrics is a newer metric for us, because through the digital transformation that we've been on over the past couple of years, we're able to now gather a lot more data and insights into what the buyers and exhibitors are doing. So one of the newer metrics that we have is really around the buyers favoriting exhibitors and sessions and products through the app, and we've seen a 30% increase in that. And so what that really tells us is, again, that the buyers have a lot of interest. They're also understanding our systems better as we're optimizing them. Hopefully they're more convenient than ever. But really, again, it's just an insight into, as well, where our buyers are interested, what sessions they're interested in, and that will really help us to make improvements for the future on the show floor and also within the education program as well. And it also tells us that our buyers are coming and are super engaged with every single aspect of the show, and that's also what we hear anecdotally on the show floor. So it's always really important for us to get the data to back up those anecdotal messages that we're seeing. As Ray said, we had the policy forum this year. We were very pleased with the feedback on that forum, and that forum was really focusing on place leadership, which is really looking at how policymakers can work with our industry in managing their destination, in bringing all the different stakeholders together in a destination. And what we focus on, of course, in our policy forum is how to use business events as a catalyst to drive economic growth and inward investment within a destination. So again, we had great feedback from that. Professor Greg Clark always does a great job for us. I sat next to some of the politicians last night at the gala dinner who were there, and they said what an eye-opener it was for them to come to the show, to see the industry in action, and to have this insight into a roadmap really for them of how they can work with the industry in their local destinations to really drive that economic growth. So that was great to hear, because that's what we want to do. I know that that Ireland, for example, launched a new strategy here this week, and the catalyst for that and for their minister being here this week to launch that was coming to the policy forum 3 years ago. So we know that these types of initiatives that we do at the show and work on throughout the year really do have a long-term impact for our exhibitors, for the destinations. This week I've met with a number of different ministers, some of whom went to the policy forum and some came into the show. The US consulate was here today, the Minister of Tourism and Culture from Luxembourg was here on Tuesday. We really have had a number of delegations, from Luxembourg through to China and the Middle East, coming here to the show to see the industry in action. And that's just as important really as everything else that we're doing, whether or not they make it to our policy forum, for them to actually come to see their competition as well, and to see how they can make the most of this industry in driving growth in their destinations. The other thing that I would say that I think has come through very strongly on the show floor and throughout the education is really this focus, this continued focus that we have seen, and really I think is at a more mature level now, is really this focus on designing the events that we put together with emotional experiences at their heart. That was one of the trends that IMEX delivered in their research update earlier in the week. And it's something that we've been focusing through the way that we work, through the way that we design the show, but also on the education program as well for many years. And it's great to see that now coming through, this real focus on designing for a human being, an inclusive experience that really helps humans connect when they are face to face. And we know with the growth of technology and AI, the reason that people are coming together is to have those human to human connections and develop those relationships. And therefore the emphasis that we need to put on driving that and making events effective for that is increasingly important. So that's another major trend that we've seen coming through. I think I'll leave it at that, and I'm very happy to take any questions.